Wagwan. Yeah, YNA Network, you don't know. Coming back again with another reading, another research. Is it? You know? I just put in IMF and CBDC in a Google, and guess what pop up? You see it. So we're gonna read from this year, keeping it relative, talking about some of the stuff, them, or some of the topics that, and just getting some information behind what the IMF has been up to in the reports. Alright, so let's dive into it. It's almost night time. Alright, behind the scenes of central bank digital currency emerging trends, February 9. Let me see if this article will even pop up, because some of them don't really pop up enough. Alright, the one that pop up, you see it. This one's a small one, still in not that big one. Let's get to it. Behind the scenes of central bank digital currency emerging trends, insight, and policy lessons. So just be advised that this article is actually coming from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. You see it. So summary. Central banks are increasingly pondering whether to issue their own digital currency to the general public. So-called retail central bank digital currency, CBDC, the majority of IMF member countries are actively evaluating CBDCs, with only a few having issued CBDCs or undertaken extensive pilots or tests. This paper shines the spotlight on the handful of countries at the frontier in the hope of identifying and sharing insights, lessons, and open questions for the benefit of the many countries following their footsteps. Clearly, what can be glanced from these experiences does not increasingly apply elsewhere. The sample of countries remains small, and country circumstances differ widely. However, the insights in this paper may inspire further investigation and allow countries to gain time by building on the experience of others. Importantly, the purpose of this paper is not to evaluate the courses taken by different jurisdictions, but to study and discuss their key experiences and lessons. The paper studies 6 advanced CBDC projects, drawing on collaboration and exchanges with the respective central banks to get insights beyond what has previously been published. Unless a specific published source is cited, all information stems from interviews and workshops with members of CBDC project teams in each jurisdiction. Who is the author of this? It was public on February 9, 2022. Up top, enough author and editor there. So, as you can see, it's on there. Gabriel Soderberg, Marianne Bachara, Walt Bosu, Natasha XG, Sanja. Yeah, enough people to manage. You can see there. Right? So you see it. We'll go back on the Google thing. Alright, I'm going to get another date other than the February. Here's one. Opening remarks at peer learning series on digital monetary technology. Taking digital currency offline, International Monetary Fund. Cross-border central bank digital currency bank runs and capital. Let's go back. Let's get into May. February, March, April, May. Not that bad. Not that far away. Author Adina Popescu. And this was published May 6, 2022. Cross-border central bank digital currency bank runs and capital flows volatility. I wish I can zoom in on these things. It's so tiny. IMF. So the disclaimer: IMF working papers describe research in progress by the author and are published to elicit comments and to encourage debate. The views expressed in IMF working papers are those of the author and do not necessarily represent the views of the IMF, its executive board, or IMF management. Summary, it's a small one. Central banks around the world are increasingly exploring central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. This paper investigates the possible impacts of cross-border CBDCs on capital flows and financial stability in a simple open economy extension of a classical model of bank runs, augmented with the presence of a credible foreign central bank which issues an account-based interest-bearing CBDCs available to non-residents. The paper finds that the presence of a foreign CBDC which acts as an international safe asset may increase the risk of financial disintermediation in the domestic banking sector, which can be accompanied by higher and more volatile capital flows. So some of them reading are boring, yes, me not lie, but this show you clearly that the banks are looking into digital currencies. This is where they hide the information in the books. And then they speaks about it in the media last minute. And then majority of the people are gonna get caught by surprise when they're interviewing them on the road, saying, "Hey, what are your thoughts on this new financial system?" And they're gonna be like, "Oh, some of them is gonna be shocked, some of them are gonna be, welcoming of it. It's gonna be mixed views. It's gonna be mixed up because people are not reading and the media is not showing or teaching this information yet to the public." More African central banks are exploring digital currencies, says the IMF. This video is going to be a little bit longer because I'm basically doing multiple articles, just identifying IMF interests in digital currencies and crypto technologies. So you wanna what is I know? This is coming from IMF blog. Chart of the week. More African central banks are exploring digital currency. This article was written on June 23rd, 2022 by Abtamu Fui, Sahed Quayum, and Frank Quatara. Several sub-Saharan African central banks are exploring or in the pilot phase of a digital currency. Following Nigeria's October introduction of the Naira, Nigeria was the second country after the Bahamas to roll out a CBDC. CBDCs are digital versions of cash that are more secure and less volatile than crypto assets because they are issued and regulated by central banks. As the chart of the week shows, South Africa and Ghana are running pilots while other countries are in the research phase. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit on this. Okay, nice, I can. Okay, I didn't want that to happen, but seeing that it can. Oh, let's look at this. So going digital. Several sub-Saharan African countries are exploring the use of central bank digital currencies to enhance payment systems. So let's look at some of them. Ghana. So in the blue, it shows the ones that are launched, the ones that are pilot, the ones that are doing the research. and the ones that are not, and the parts of the continents in Africa that are not participating at all. So there's one that already launched in Africa is Ghana, and there are two of the so there's navy blue, so what is it, the navy blue, and there's the baby blue, the sky blue. So the lighter blue, which most reference that to a sky blue, is pilot phase. Pilot phase is Ghana and South Africa. Is pilot phase in which I think now, because this article dated way back, I think they have already, or they're preparing to launch right now. In the research phase is Zambia, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Madagascar, Tanzania, Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda. Almost all of Africa. What is going on here? Let's continue this article. The South African Reserve Bank is experimenting with a wholesale CBDC, which can only be used by financial institutions for interbank transfers as part of the second phase of its project, OKA. The country also participated in a cross-border pilot with the central banks of Australia, Malaysia, and Singapore. The Bank of Ghana, by contrast, is testing a general purpose or retail CBDC, the ECD, which can be used by anyone with either a digital wallet app or a contactless smart card that can be used offline. Countries have different motives for using CBDCs, but for the region, there are some potentially important benefits. The first is promoting financial inclusion. CBDCs could bring financial services to people who previously didn't have bank accounts, especially if designed for offline use. In remote areas without internet access, excuse me, digital transactions can be made at little or no cost using simple feature phones. CBDCs can be used to distribute targeted welfare payments, especially during sudden crises such as a pandemic or natural disaster. They can also facilitate cross-border transfer and payments. Sub-Saharan Africa is the most expensive region to send and receive money, with an average cost of just under 8% of the transfer amount. CBDCs could make sending remittances easier, faster, and cheaper by shortening payment chains and creating more competition among service providers. Faster clearance of cross-border payments would help boost trade within the region and with the rest of the world. There are risks and challenges that need to be considered before issuing a CBDC. However, governments will need to improve access to digital infrastructure such as phone or internet connectivity. While the region has made significant strides, more investment is needed. More broadly, central banks will need to develop the expertise and technical capacity to manage the risk to data privacy, including from potential cyber attacks and to financial integrity, which will require countries to strengthen their national identification systems so know your customer requirements are more easily enforced. There is also a risk that citizens pull too much money out of banks to purchase CBDCs, affecting banks' ability to lend. This is especially a problem for countries with unstable financial systems. Central banks will also need to consider how CBDCs affect the private industry for digital payment services, which has made important strides in promoting financial inclusion through mobile money. That's messed up what they just said at the end. So, if I put my money in the bank and want to take my money out to buy something, if so, you're telling me if majority of the country is buying the same thing, that's our fault? No, no, no. Anyway, so about the blog. IMF blog is a forum for the views of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, staff and officials on pressing economic and policy issues of the day. The views expressed are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the views of me, I myself, and the IMF and its executive board. Yes, Yazid, thank you guys for tuning in once again. And this another reading of, actually, let me read one more. Because I know said there have to be another one. Let me try to get out of this thing. It won't even let me come out to reality. Alright, I am free. So latest CBDC recommendations from the BIS, IMF, World Bank. That's pretty recent. 7 days ago, new global CBDC platform could cut payment costs. IMF says IMF is on this, baby. 6 days ago, the IMF is exploring CBDC clearing and international settlements platform. You hear that? IMF looks to build platform for cross-border CBDC transaction. I know there's I heard of a more recent article, but I don't know where it's at, man. All right, let's read the one in July. To go back to the one in July, where it's at, yo. I think it's up more. Here we are. Alright, so IMF looks to build platform for cross-border CBDC transactions. The director and division chief of IMF Monetary and Capital Markets Department will soon publish a paper laying out a blueprint for a platform to support CBDC clearing and settlements transactions between multiple countries. Fast Facts, writing in the organization's latest quarterly journal, Tobias Adrian and Tommaso Mancini Griffoli said the platform will provide a common settlement feature and a common programming language to write smart contracts on the platform. The platform will be available for both the public and private sector to use, the article said. The challenge will be to find the right governance arrangements and to mobilize a significant number of central banks to pull this off, said Adrian and Mancini Griffoli. But IMF is a good place to start exploring these prospects with memberships globally. In addition to the IMF, banks for international settlements have participated in cross-border CBDC projects between several countries such as Enbridge, project involving Hong Kong, Thailand, mainland China, and the United Arab Emirates, and the project Dunbar involving Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, and South Africa. There are currently 105 countries exploring a CBDC, according to the Atlantic Council. So I guess the author of this article, this last one, is Ninghui Quinn. Ninghui Quinn from Forecast. That's Forkast. All right. I'm done right now. And still 20 minutes up on the video. This is not financial advice, but I just wanted to take the time to show the item and the massive them. Oh, I do my research when it comes to the cryptos and also the CBDCs that I'm investing in, what I have in my portfolio. So hopefully this is a big help for you guys out there. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you for taking the time to check out. Thank you for taking the time to stop by. I only ask that you like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the notification bell if you want to ring it. I feel problem that, but subscribe so that you can check in whenever you want on the video. Them they will always be here. Subscribe, like, share, comment, ring the notification bell if you want to see it. And I'm tuning out, y'all.